Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about the invisible woman. No, we're not going back to the 1940s. I'm talking about today. I'm talking about the most important area in public policy that women tend to be invisible in, and that is corruption data. Corruption data influences anti-corruption policy as well as public policy. Data is not just numbers on spreadsheets. Data impacts what government spends money on, what government pays attention to. Data influences what donors fund. Data influences what researchers research. And data influences what is important. And when we have data that does not include women in it, this is when women become invisible. So what is corruption, you ask? Corruption is the abuse of entrusted power by public official for private gain. So where are women invisible here? Women are invisible in the way we measure corruption, in the way we collect data. Within the corruption data, researchers, organizations ask surveys. They ask individuals, have you ever paid a bribe? Have you paid a bribe to a public official in return for favors, in return for documents, in return for anything that you need? And bribery, understanding bribery is important here. It affects institutions, it affects trust in our public officials, in our institutions. But when it comes to women, this is where the problem lies. And this is what I want to focus my talk on today. With our current data, measuring bribery, again, it's very important. But this model overlooks one important factor. And it assumes that data and corruption data is neutral. But it's not. It is a gendered issue. Women experience corruption different than men. The bribery data looks at corruption as a financial exchange. However, women experience this much different. They experience it through their bodies. And this brings us to the concept of sextortion. Sextortion is the abuse of power, of entrusted power for sexual favors. And this is where women are invisible in the data, because we are not measuring sextortion. We are measuring financial bribery, money, the exchange of money. And this is where public policy fails to capture this issue of sextortion. So how does this affect women? How does it make women invisible? In the context of societies where inequality is high and access to resources is limited for many women, this is where the problem starts. So it starts as an inequality issue. Second, we have systems that fail to measure sextortion. We have systems also that stigmatize this type of coercion. And so because of this, we have systems that fail to measure what truly women experience. So where do we go from here? How do we fix this measurement problem? First, it starts by understanding the problem better, by understanding that corruption is gendered, that the data needs to take that into account. It needs to understand women's lived experience here. Second, we need to create systems that ensure that we have proper reporting systems, that we have systems that protect women as they report these violations. From there, we can begin to effectively deal with the issue. And this brings us to an important point. So not only is it about the data, but we also have to create measures to ensure that women are protected when we have these reporting systems. And so by doing this, we are able to make the invisible visible again. Thank you.